Hello, class. My name is Dr. Kennedy Paron, and we are going into section 3.2, the embryonic stage. So what is the embryonic stage, you might be asking? Well, this is the stage of prenatal development that lasts from the implantation through the 8th week of pregnancy. It's also characterized by the major organ development that takes place during this stage. This stage, it goes from implantation in the uterus to the first 2 months of the development. So the development has two different trends. First, cephalocaudal, head to tail of the fetus, and proximodistal, from the inner part or axis of the body outward. So we have some important vocabulary for this section. We're going to start with the endoderm. We talked about this a little bit last section. This is the outermost cell layer of the newly formed embryo from which skin and the nervous system do develop. Next, we have the neural tubes. So this is a hollowed out area of the blastocyte in which the nervous system develops. We have the mesoderm next. This is the center layer of the embryo from which bones and muscles are formed. And finally, we have the endoderm, which is the inner layer of the embryo from which the lungs and the digestive system occur. So each of these layers is very important to the development of the fetus. So next we're going to cover sexual differentiation. How do babies develop into girls and others into boys? So between weeks 5 and 6 of development, the fetus has already formed their sex organs. So this baby is already determined at the point of conception by the father. So the father will either pass on an X chromosome with a Y or two Ys. Two Ys would be boy, XY would be girl. And the father determines this. At 10 weeks gestation, a blood test can actually tell you the sex of your baby. It will be much later before the sex can be viewed on an ultrasound, but by 7 weeks of conception, the sex organs have already formed and there is differentiation between them and the other sex. Next, we're going to cover the sex hormones and differentiation. So this is where the differences in utero begin, even at a hormonal level of difference. So males will have androgens. This is male sex hormones present if the fetus is a male. They will also have testosterone. This is a hormone produced in the testes that promotes the development of male sexual characteristics and also sperm. Females, on the other hand, will have very little amounts of male hormones such as testosterone, and females have estrogen as a female sex hormone. So what is the amniotic sac? We also talked about this in the first section a little bit. So this sac is where the fetus develops inside the uterus of the mother. So this sac is also surrounded by liquid in a membrane called amniotic fluid. So amniotic fluid is within the amniotic sac and suspends to protect the fetus. That is its main goal. So you might be wondering, how does the embryo get nourished from its mother and how does it eliminate waste products? We touched on this a little bit last section as well, but this is done through the umbilical cord and the placenta. The placenta is made out of tissue and it allows the embryo to gain nutrients from the mother and also pass waste to them as well. So the placenta is formed by bodily materials from the mother and the baby. They build this together, and the umbilical cord is attached to the fetus and the placenta in the mother. Next, we're going to cover section 3.3,